Hola chicos, hey guys, and welcome to the first day of your third year Spanish online Easter revision course. I haven't actually done a third year course here in so long, so I just want to take a minute to just give you guys a little bit of insight into me and who I am and what kind of person I try to be in the classroom, all that kind of stuff. So voy a hablar un poquito en español y entonces en inglés para que vosotros podáis entenderme, ¿vale? So, yo me llamo Casey, yo tengo 26 años de edad, yo tengo una carrera de español, francés y italiano, pues yo puedo hablar en 5 idiomas, yo puedo hablar inglés, irlandés, italiano, español y francés, okay? So what I'm saying there is, I'm Katie and I have a degree in French, Spanish and Italian, so I can speak 5 languages, so yes, I'm complete, I'm not a nerd. I absolutely love languages and it's always my goal as a teacher to try and impart some of what I love about languages onto you guys, even if you don't necessarily understand what I'm talking about all the time. Hopefully I can kind of help you in, I suppose, being a little bit less intimidated by some of the things that you might be doing in class. I know that especially at the moment when you guys have missed out a lot of school, and obviously you guys are the first year to have this new junior cycle exam, so everyone's probably a little bit nervous and stuff at home. So hopefully what we can do over the next kind of 5 days of lessons is try and keep everyone nice and calm and make sure that we're all feeling prepped going into the exams. So what I just want to start off with really quickly, just to kind of refresh people's memories, because I don't know if you've really been told an awful lot about the marking scheme or what you're going to be up against in your state exams. So we're just going to have a quick look at that first. Before we jump into that, I'm actually just going to grab these so I can show them to you. You guys should have 3 sets of notes from me for this course, because I just thought I'd give you so much stuff to do. So the first one has on the outside of it online Easter revision course, and then my name, and then it has la gramática, so this is going to be all of your grammar. And towards the back of this as well, we're also going to have a lot of work in terms of vocab that we can use for our exams, but I'll go through all of that with you guys. Then you've got your worksheets and your revision exercises, so I've made loads of lovely activities for you guys to do, and I got way too much enjoyment out of making them. Again, some of them are going to probably look a little bit strange, so don't freak out if you haven't a clue what the question is asking. I'm going to go through these with you guys as well. And then the last one, what I've done is I've gotten all of the exam questions and I've put them all into one booklet. So I would imagine that a lot of you guys have probably seen the exam question, or like the exam sample paper that is set out by the SEC, by the State Examinations Commission, and that's on examinations.ie already, but I've included it in case anyone hasn't seen it. I've also included 2 mock papers that follow the same pattern as what you guys are going to be seeing in your junior cert, so that might be helpful for you guys as well to just see a little bit more, I suppose, sample questions and stuff. And then what I've also done at the back is I've included all of the, well, not all of them, but a lot of reading and writing exercises from the old junior cert syllabus that I would assume is still going to be very relevant for what you guys are going to be covering in June. So they might be a little bit different in the sense of like their structure and stuff, but all of them are going to be testing the same material, because you guys are basically going to still be at the same, what we call like level in the European framework of languages. It's still the same assessment, it's just being assessed in a different slant, I suppose, or in a different way. So just to kind of give us a little bit of insight into what we're going to be up against now, I would assume that all of you guys have gone through your 2 CBAs, and I'm sure you enjoyed every second of them. So you would have done CBA 1 kind of towards the middle or end of second year, and that was your oral communication classroom-based assessment. And then you would have also completed your student language portfolio, which is your second classroom-based assessment. Now, this kind of seemed to be a little bit up in the air last year when I had my last group of third years, in the sense that people don't know what they're worth or anything like that. Unfortunately, all of the effort that you put into your CBAs themselves aren't necessarily worth anything towards your final grade. They're a different part of your assessment. What they are going to come into is your formal written assessment task, where you've been writing about how you found the CBAs, what you learned from doing them, like your reflection task. That bit there is going to be worth 10% of your 400 marks, okay? So if you don't know that, you guys are actually the same as the Leaving Cert in the amount of marks that you're being marked out of, so your 400 marks total. Okay, so this would have been 10%, or it's going to make 10% of your grade. And what we have left then to focus on, because I obviously can't help you guys with these anymore because you've done them already. So what we are going to be looking at is your actual final exam. And on the off chance that you haven't seen anything from the new papers, I'd be a bit worried if you haven't, so I'm going to trust in everyone and assume that everyone has at least seen a paper. But this is basically what we're going to be looking at, okay? So you've got your listening section, which is the first section of your paper. Then you're going to have your reading comprehension section and then your written expression section. So in terms of marks, these are all out of 400, and then we've already got the 10% in the bag. So we're going to have 140 marks, which is going to leave us at 35% for our listening and our reading. So we've got 10%, and then we've got 70 here, so that's 80, which means then that our written work is going to be worth 20% of our final grade. Okay, now in terms of breaking this down a little bit more for you guys for the written section, because I know that this is the bit that everyone tends to get the most stressed about. So we've got our sentences, where you're given the pieces of information in the box and you have to use those pieces of information to finish the sentences given to you. Those sentences are going to be marked, there's 6 of them, and they're going to be worth 3 marks each, so that's 18 marks total. Then you're going to have your blog. Okay, and that's going to be 5 sets of 4 marks, so that's going to be 20 marks. And then you're going to have, I actually really like the last question in the exam. I think it's very, it's a nice transition question to bring you guys from junior cycle into senior cycle, because on the senior cycle paper in the Leaving Cert, we have what we call a dialogue construction, where you guys are going to be given, in 6th year, like five parts of a conversation in English that you have to translate into Spanish. So I think that this is probably the closest thing to that, and I love that they're getting you guys ready for that early. But your chat at the end, where you are either having a conversation or you're chatting with your friend online in Spanish, and then you'll be told what to say. I suppose in Spanish it'll be like, escríbeme tu colegio, like tell me about your school, or something along those lines. But that is going to be worth the biggest chunk here, and it's going to be 7 sets of 6 marks, so that's going to be 42 marks. Now, one thing I'm just going to I might write this in black so it comes across as even more important. One thing that's going to be maybe a little bit of a comfort for you guys, especially in the midst of all of the chaos that we're in at the moment, is that the minor errors that you might make in your written work are going to be ignored. Now, what is a minor error? If that was what was written on the marking scheme and I was correcting your paper, well, I would assume that would be things like accents, punctuation, and small spelling mistakes. That doesn't mean that you can spell all of your verbs wrong, or that you don't need to know all of your tenses, because you do, and I will teach them all to you. But that if you spelt a word with the vowels in the wrong order or something like that, that I wouldn't really think twice about marking it. Okay. In terms of punctuation, what I mean here is that, like we know in Spanish, we have to have an upside down question mark or an upside down exclamation mark at the beginning of our sentence. But if you forgot to do that, I'm not going to really mind too much. I'm not going to mark you down for it. So that might be something that you just want to maybe remember, that you're not under as much pressure as what you might have thought. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to just step out of this really quick, and then if you want to screenshot the video for a sec, so you have that information if you haven't taken it down.